This is 50.com. This is 50 Radio. I am DJ Thorough, a.k.a. Thorozano, the bridge to the streets.
Yo, I'm a hip-hop fanatic right now. The Heineken is here.
Oh, you hip
yo,
scumbag now?
No, my nigga, this guy right here has crafted some legendary music, man.
All right.
Let's keep it real, man. There's a lot of dope hits that he's put out, dope, timeless music. So we gotta show real support, real salute, my nigga.
All right.
I pay attention to producers. I got a background.
This is the first time you're not the scumlord, the scumbag.
Nah,
though.
Just Blaze is different, my nigga.
Okay.
Just Blaze is different, son. Like when he started talking about sneakers, I never felt a certain way.
Right.
You know?
You know this is a true polo king, right?
Oh, of course.
It's light work.
Light works.
See modest. He
got a couple
Ralph
things.
Lauren looking for him for shit he got.
Actually, I did get a call from the office once asking if I had this one sample bear scarf.
Oh,
They had seen me with a picture of it, and they didn't have one on the archive, so I had to let them borrow mine.
Shit, salute
You know
the boss.
Interview over.
Interview over. Yeah.
Party done.
But you know, Just Blaze, legendary orchestrator of music.
Thank you.
I don't like the word producer. That's regular shit.
Orchestrator?
Orchestrator.
Composer, like architect.
I like architect.
Beethoven, Beethoven.
You know,
Give him a
like
name.
you've crafted hits for Jay, Kanye, Fab. That's just light numbers I'm giving out there right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've done all right. You know, it's been a good journey. It's been a good journey.
Definitely a continuous journey.
Yeah. It ain't over. It's far from
Never. Man, you're a young man still. You don't have no craze on your face that I can see.
Nope. I'm trying to preserve. I'm on my healthy. I'm on my health kick, trying to preserve.
You know, Thorough was like, "Yo, we got Just coming up." I was like, I haven't heard too much hip hop beats, but I already know what it is. He's like, "Fuck this nigga shit for now." He's like, because it gets. I can't assume what you're thinking, but a person that's creative like you probably like, I need something to challenge me.
Well, there's that, and then there's just as you grow as a person, as a businessman, just as an adult,
True.
you don't necessarily have the time to, in my early 20s, late teens, I had nothing else to do but sit in the studio. You get older, life changes. You have other things you got to handle. You have other businesses and other ventures that come up. And you've made enough money where it's like you can work on what you feel like working on.
Definitely.
As opposed to just running around trying to be on top of everything,
It's like you and Ye came up at the same time. It's
Right.
like, what was that like? Like,
it was cool. It was, one I guess speculation that people always have is that me and him were at each other's throats trying to outdo each other, and that really wasn't the case. There was definitely and still is, mutual respect, more so of an inspiration, more of an inspirational relationship. Like I remember the day he came to the studio with Takeover, and everybody went crazy, myself included. And I was working on You Don't Know in the other room, and he comes in and he's like, "Yo, how did you get your horns to do this, and how do the drums?" Like, he was asking me questions about how I constructed that. The same way I would have questions for him about how he might have chopped up certain things.
Like, understand how legendary that is. At the
Right.
time, y'all don't know. Y'all both young. Y'all in your early
Right.
20s.
Right. Well, the thing is, you don't really know. Obviously the album's heralded as a classic now, but
Definitely.
you don't really know that when you're in the moment. You're just putting your best foot forward and doing what you do, and you never know that you're making history while you're making it, because the things that help define a classic are public opinion, not your opinion, it's public opinion, and it's also the passage of time.
Definitely.
Because think about how many great records that there are, or albums that have come out, over the course of history that you no longer desire to listen to 10 years later or even a year later. And then you have certain albums that you can listen to, like, and they're timeless. But you don't know that, a lot of times you don't know that while you're doing it.
Like, you don't know might be one of the greatest, like, B-side songs. That's what they try to label it sometimes. Right. But it has its own.
Yeah, I think that was the B-side to H to the Izzo, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, because we had the double-sided blue 12-inch, the blue vinyl 12-inch. And yeah, it was You Don't Know on one side and H to the Izzo on the other. I'll never forget, we were living in Miami at the time because we were working on what ended up becoming the State Property album. It was supposed to be the Beanie Sigel and Memphis Bleak album.
Yeah.
And that didn't pan out, but State Property kind of came about from working on that album in Miami. And I remember when we were in I think it was at the time, it was Club Level in Miami.
I remember that.
And we were living down, we had condos down there working on the album, and we all went to Level one night. And I didn't even realize that the H to the Izzo, or that You Don't Know, was on the B-side of H to the Izzo, that it was going to be on there. And all of a sudden, You Don't Know came on in the club, and I'm like, yo, we just finished this record last week. Or within the last couple weeks before that. And the way it rang off in the club, I knew that it was going to be something. Because it was brand new. Nobody knew the words yet. A lot of times when people hear unfamiliar records in the club, you hear the energy usually drops down. Even if it's by their favorite rapper, they don't necessarily know the record, so the energy isn't there. As soon as that record came on, the energy went up, and people didn't even know what it was.
That's crazy.
And I'm like,
the way you started that shit.
The beginning of the record it lets you know something's about to happen, and that's I think with my records, one of the things that I've always done unconsciously was build my records for DJs. As a DJ, a lot of those records from that era, you think like Flipside, how many times you hear the DJ cutting up the ooh, now clap for me, mommy, ooh, or the pump it up intro. A lot of those records were, I kind of, at first it was a subconscious thing, and then I realized that I needed to keep doing it, was setting up the records right. Like you think about, there's a lot, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of dope records out right now, but not many records that DJs can get busy to.
I'm glad you brought that up.
Definitely, though.
Well, it's obvious, it's a yes. I know the answer to this, but I'm asking your opinion on it. You think that's obviously missing from the game with producer-wise? Like,
I think so. I think part of the reason for that is the era that I first came to prominence in, and I think just historically up until that point, not all but many of the best producers started out as DJs.
Right.
So you have,
they were making the music they were playing.
Exactly. So you have the Pete Rocks, the RZAs, the Swisses, the Q-Tips. I mean, we can go on and on. Right. Not all, but the majority of good producers from those previous eras started out as DJs. So, and Mix Show being as strong as it was, a lot of times like you had people like Clark Kent and Pete who were DJs on these shows also making the records. Right. So you would listen to them and back then on Mix Show you might have a whole hour where all you heard was them cutting up break beats. Right. Mm-hmm. So for me it was like I wanted to make records that they could do the same thing with. Right. And I feel like as time has progressed and technology has changed, now you can just say, there's nothing wrong with this, it's just a different angle. You could say, I want to be a producer, go buy a $500 laptop, start making beats, and make some good stuff, but just the perspective is different. A lot of the perspective these days might not necessarily be from somebody who was a DJ. Right. So they set up their records differently. Right. You know what I mean?
Jumpin', them boys up to something. They just spent like 2 or 3 weeks out the country. Them boys up to something, they just not just bluffing. You don't have to call, I hear my dance like Usher. Ooh, I just found my tempo like on